one of the biggest headaches for the Trump administration this week supposedly was going to be over after yet another two deadly ICE encounters. The administration quietly told ICE officers suspend most of these traffic stops during immigration operations, which are serving as the catalysts to some of these shooting deaths. And we had another situation where two ICE agents shot and killed drivers within a week. One was in Texas, another was in Maine. And according to reporting, neither of the men who were killed were even the targets of the operation that ICE was running. So the pause was not, we've changed our ideology. The pause was, we got to do damage control. We got to stop this. And a bunch of Republican lawmakers, including Maine Senator Susan Collins, who's in a re-election campaign, started expressing concern. I'm concerned about the shootings. And Susan Collins reportedly urged the Department of Homeland Security, now run by the completely incompetent former Senator Markwayne Mullin, she urged them stop the non-urgent vehicle stops after the Maine incident. If it's a high-speed chase, something of, danger to the public, but the average one of these traffic stops, you got to stop doing this stuff. And the administration seemed to realize the optics are really bad. And people are going to vote against every Republican in November if we don't step in here. So they did that. But Donald Trump didn't like it. And just hours ago this morning, he went to Truth Social and he says the policy is back on, publishing, quote, "The men and women of ICE are doing a great job, one that has to be done. Crime is way down in America, in many cases with numbers that haven't been seen in decades. The open border policy of Sleepy Joe Biden allowed 25 million people to pour into our country, unchecked and unvetted. Many were criminals, and we have to get them out. In order to do this, we must be strong, tough, and smart, and we cannot give up one of ICE's most important and effective crime-fighting tools, the traffic stop. Once we do, we are playing right into the criminals' hands. The radical left Democrats would like to see this done, but it won't happen on my watch. ICE, be judicious, fair, and smart, and go back and do your very important job. Keep those crime stat records coming. Remember, you are loved and respected in America. Thank you, blah, blah, blah." So a lot of falsehoods there. ICE has a very low approval in the United States. And Trump going, crime is way down. Crime has been declining in the United States for 30 years. And interestingly, crime is declining no faster on average now than before this ICE deportation policy. So if anything, the evidence points to this really isn't accelerating the crime decline in the United States. But Donald Trump saying this pause that lasted a few hours on the ICE traffic stops is over. And to me, the most remarkable part isn't, Trump supports aggressive immigration enforcement. We knew that. He campaigned on that. It's his own administration came to the conclusion these traffic stops are such a liability. We have to stop them while officials review what is going on. And Trump immediately goes, nope, do it again. According to the Associated Press, at least 10 people have died during immigration enforcement operations since the start of this campaign. Multiple deaths involved vehicles. Former acting ICE director John Sandweg estimated there have been 18 traffic stop shootings connected to Trump's policy. And whether every one of those uses of force was legally justified has to be looked at individually. With at least some of them, when the evidence came out, it became clear they were not justified. But put that aside for a second. From a political standpoint, Republicans have a new problem, or they again have a problem they were hoping would fade away. And instead of being able to talk about lowering inflation or jobs or other stuff they want to campaign on, even though they don't have the numbers to justify it, they are now again in the position of having to defend these videos of fatal encounters during ICE operations. And then there's the broader question, of course, about decision-making in the White House. We talked to Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan about this last week. Who is really in charge there? And they said it depends in which area. For some stuff, it's Stephen Miller. For some, it's Susie Wiles. But what we see now is one day ICE leadership says we're pausing this after two more deadly events. And then the next day, Trump goes, no, you've got to do it. Keep doing it. These public reversals not only create confusion about who's setting policy, it also sends a message to rank and file officers. whatever internal review may be underway, Trump wants you to keep projecting toughness. And he says it's indispensable that these traffic stops continue. Now, as we see these, we recognize we need greater restraint. We need more oversight. Policing experts have warned shooting into moving vehicles creates such a risk for officers and suspects and bystanders. It's one of the worst things you can do. And Trump goes, you got to keep pushing forward on exactly the sort of stops that are leading to those incidents. So it took only 24 hours for Trump to say it is all back on. And maybe one of the most incredible reminders I have is that back when Joe Biden was president, Donald Trump would insist Biden's not really making the decisions. It's the auto pen and it's people who shall not be named because we don't know who they are, and Biden doesn't even know what's going on. We have a real question here in the Trump administration as to whose enforcement power is really being respected, because it's not clear that it's Trump's and it's not clear that it's his agencies. It's just a mishmash of back and forth. And as usual, I mean, listen, this is the theme. When Trump goes, the tariffs are on and then the tariffs are off. All of these trading partners economically see instability. They don't know what to do. They hold tight. It's bad for them. When we see that the Strait of Hormuz is closed and then it's open and then it's closed and there's a tariff on it and then there's not, or a toll or whatever, others say it's too crazy over there. We just got to hold tight. We're not going to do anything, and that's bad economically. And then now we have a situation where officers and ICE agents, police officers, law enforcement agencies, prosecutors, everyone's like, okay, so the ICE traffic stops are off, or no, the ICE traffic stops are on. This is more than economic. This is an issue of how policing is going to take place. And nobody seems to have a clue what it is that they're supposed to be doing, because Trump is just reversing and reversing and reversing. And in the middle of this, the Epstein stuff is not going away, even if the administration is desperate to make it go away. And I want to talk about that next. The brutally hot weather we have has a way of exposing malfunctioning underwear. You take one long walk or commute in the humidity, or you're in a studio like this one that's overheated one day, and suddenly it's the sweat and the friction and the readjusting. And this is where Sheath underwear is a game changer. We have a sponsor, Sheath. They just make great underwear built around a pouch design that will separate and support. It'll reduce skin-on-skin contact. It'll eliminate the chafing when things get a little sticky. Their lineup includes 5 or 8-inch boxer briefs. They've got trunks, base layers, socks, and more. You can get bamboo. You can get modal, cotton, airflow fabrics. The airflow fabrics are designed to be cooling and breathable, whether you're moving around or just lounging around. And Sheath's bamboo and modal options are built for soft, comfortable daily wear. You might be doing morning errands. Maybe it's a late night show you're going to. So during these blisteringly hot months, don't just crank up the fan and hope for the best. Upgrade your first layer. Go to sheathunderwear.com/Pakman. Use code Pakman for 20% off your entire order. The link is in the description.